Hey, this is the Well of Ice channel 2. What I'm going to talk about today is the problem with communism. So for this video, I will explain why the left should not embrace communism, which in recent times, a lot of left-wing people have embraced communism and said it's a good ideology and it works and it's better than capitalism. And for this video, I'm going to explain why it doesn't work, as well as the destructive effect it is having when it comes to the reputation that us liberals have, as a whole, okay? And what, as a result, we can come up with as an alternative to thinking communism is the answer. So now I mention that, let's get started. So first and foremost, when it comes to the topic of why communism doesn't work, which in recent times has been heavily embraced by a lot of left-wing people, to the point you can't really find a major left-wing channel that is not pro-communism, pro-socialism, and of course, as a result, anti-capitalism nowadays, which it's been proven numerous times it doesn't work. For that matter, communism/socialism doesn't work. So as a result of all that bullshit that's going around in the left wing, I'm going to expose to people, the left more specifically, why it does not work, okay? Especially as a left-wing person myself, okay? So let me explain. Okay, so when it comes to communism, this whole ideology, like I was saying before, that's been heavily embraced, why does the ideology of communism not work? The simple answer to that question is simply down to the fact that communism simply deprives civilization of two basic things, like I was saying before, two basic things that a civilization needs in order to work, okay? The first one is simplicity. The second one is encouragement of progress, okay? And let me explain, of course, starting off with the first one, which of course is simplicity. And the first one, when it comes to simplicity, ironically enough, is due to the fact that communism is anti-money. It's anti economics and stuff like that. It doesn't really think money should serve much of a value, and so on and so forth in life, okay? So the truth of the matter is, when it comes to that specific issue, of course, common sense is going to indicate, okay, for that matter, to be quite honest with you, is that when it comes to this whole issue, of communism is the best system and this and that, the biggest problem with it is simply down to the fact that human beings have way more experience when it comes to living in societies that are run by money, okay? And not just money, but money in a way that is in a hierarchical way. The more money you have, the more status and power you have, okay? Whether it could be going back in the past to things like the different systems we used to have many centuries to thousands of years ago, whether it could be the idea of having an emperor, or even later on feudalism, or the many different types of systems they had, and even the subvariants of it. The point of the matter is, we as human beings are way more used to for that matter, living under a system that is money-based, okay, in some way, shape, or form, which of course all those systems led the way to, of course, capitalism as we know it today, okay? That is the truth of the matter. All those fundamental systems, are all, even the ones that came pre-capitalism, are all things that obviously have contributed to our understanding of money, okay? There's so many lessons we have learned from money over the past few thousand years, for that matter, overall, that we do not have with a system like communism, for that matter, okay? Whether it could be lessons to learn, like obviously you do not want to have too much of a good thing, like too much of a good thing could be a bad thing, whether it could be like the Spanish Empire when it produced too much it actually had inflation as a result of that. Two, as well, the many different other crises that have happened as well, like also the idea of having too little of something and the effect it can have, to many different things that obviously are natural byproducts of having a system that's run by money. Okay, we have all those lessons and all that knowledge and wisdom from a system that is money based, and a system that's not just money based, but a hierarchical money based system, which, if you like to call it capitalism, especially the modern version of our economy, capitalism, then that's exactly it. Okay, for that matter. Okay, so that's the truth of the matter. So we have much experience versus a system like communism that we don't have much experience with understanding, because it's more complicated to work with something that only is an ideology that has existed for 100-something plus years, as was developed in the 1800s by Karl Marx, versus and has only been really in use for 100-something years, versus a system that has in some way, shape, or form existed for thousands of years. Okay, like that's the biggest problem with communism. Okay, that's what a lot of left-wing people need to understand, is that how does it work? How the hell does communism work? Because communism's idea is that everyone's going to be paid equally. Okay, but if everyone is paid equally, there's so many different problems that arise from it. First and foremost, the biggest one, of course, is where's all that money going? If you have everyone paid equally, obviously you're not going to have as much people who have a bunch of money. So where's all that money going? For that matter. And knowing human nature, wouldn't that just encourage greater corruption? Because powerful people in the government have way more money than usual, let alone the fact that how do you determine the value of an item or worth of something if nothing is supposed to be a luxury, because luxury is associated with the evil capitalist system? How do you encourage people to buy? And as a result of having a system that doesn't encourage people to buy, how the hell are you going to make the economy keep on flowing if people just live to just live? So that's the first problem with it, and why it doesn't work. Not to mention, if you have a system, and I'll make this one short and easy to understand for people, how the hell, like communism for that matter, how the hell are you going to encourage people to strive for more if there's not really any great rewards for trying to come up with the best ideas and the best this and that, because of course it is apparently evil to do it, because it shows that you want more money as well as fame, which are things that are vanities associated with evil capitalists from the Western world, as its communists like to say all the time. Then how the hell are you going to encourage people to want more? And because one of the biggest things that encourages people to strive for more, like coming up with better inventions, better feats of human ingenuity, and all the things you can imagine, whatever it could be, whether inventions, entertainment, let alone better ideas for architecture, whatever you can think of. All those things are obviously a result of people wanting more, for that matter, and if you take that away, then how the hell is humanity going to strive to have more, or I should say develop, for that matter, develop into becoming more powerful? Look at all the civilizations throughout human history that did not actually care about developing more, or didn't have the ability to develop more, and they remained literally stagnant in terms of technological progress. Look at what the Europeans did it on, and yes, it did not end well. So all communism is really doing is just kind of doing the same thing, but just on a more massive global level, for that matter, which of course is not a very good thing. So in short, that is why, for those two specific issues, why communism doesn't work. It's just going to screw things up and get away with human progress and development, for that matter. So in short, stuff like that is the reason why so many people are against communism, and this is why the left-wing party are going to have to stop learning to believe in communism. The best solution to resolving the corruption issue, with that as a result of capitalism, unfortunately, byproduct of capitalism, is to encourage there to be better anti-corruption measures. This whole idea that we need a revolution or something, this over dramatic way of thinking, you know, a revolution in order to create a communist state is just simply madness and is not really needed. And if we actually did it, would just screw things up. And that's the truth of the matter. So in short, the left wing is going to have to stop embracing the system, as not only does it not work, it's alienating us and getting in the way of us being able to get votes so we can, of course, defeat the conservatives, as that is obviously something that's a negative thing. And that's all I have to say, and I'm out. Bye.